Everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. Why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time to stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, everyone lives, everyone dies. Everyone loves, everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all gotta learn to live together. Peace, make peace, make peace, peace. Alright, isn't it time to stop dying? Isn't it time, mother, stop crying? Stop the fighting and the hate. We gotta make peace before it's too late. There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we gotta learn to live together. Peace, in peace, in peace. Alright, peace, peace, together. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, folks. Thank you for joining me on Between Two Worlds Shadow Chasing Program Radio. We are busy this evening, and I'm sorry I'm on really late.
I had to organize my my desk. It was all full of jewelry because I'm actually a jewelry maker as well. So it was all full of stuff in the way, and I was outside making more drum rings for drum workshop classes that I'm doing as well. So I was out back all day outside too, and it was a busy day crafting. I mean, or basically sanding and assembling, and yeah, that's what I'm being doing. It's just I'm just doing my thing out there as a crafter. I'm not gonna let nothing stop me, um, and still continue on living my life the way we all should have it. With our freedom. And I'm used to hearing, Freedom George yell out, "Freedom!" You don't want to hear that no more. It's kind of weird. You get used to hearing it, especially when they had the truckers convoy up in Ottawa. You would hear it all the time, and it was fun and to enjoy. It was enjoyable to watch these guys yelling and screaming for their freedom. Now, or to say it now, according to Trudeau, he keeps on saying that if you say that word freedom, that you are, you know, a racist or you're misogynist or you're a traitor. Like he's calling everything in the book. And we all know who the real traitor is, right? We already know who the real bad guy is. And what I understood, I was watching some of his laughable comments. Like he was laughing and he thought it was so funny being at the Queen's funeral service. And here's what gets me. I mean, I can understand him laughing or trying to keep a smile, but most people are more somber. They're like for a whole week, right? And that's exactly what happened. Like basically, we've had something going on back here. There we go. Something is here. It's in my way. I can see it sitting there, and I can't find it. Nope, it's not it. Somewhere, I'll find it somewhere under my ear, over my ear. It's just hang. Oh, it's probably behind me. Anyways, what Frank's saying is that we've had over a week worth of Queen Elizabeth stories every day, almost 24 hours. We've had it. In England, the people are getting driven crazy. They're getting tired of seeing repeats. It's almost like a TV series. They're just keep on running it over and over and over again. And what can you say? What can you do? I mean, you can only do so much, right? So, uh, yeah. Anyways, I want to say also give a big shout out and good and strong healing prayers to my good friend Coraline. She actually today ended up. She says she apologized. She could not listen to see the show. She's actually in the hospital as we speak. As she says her heart gave her problems, and so she says she's having a heart issue, HEART. So right now she's in the hospital in emergency. So you guys, if you're able to send some strong prayers over her direction and help send her some healing, we'd love to hear from you, or send it to her for as well. Her name's Coraline, and she's a one of the fabulous. She's been a follower from the very beginning. What I've been doing. So and I'm not. She's just basically. She said her heart's giving her issues. So I'm not sure if it's anything to do with what. It's I don't think she ever got one, but she said she's been having problems with her heart a long time ago. So it may be this something that's probably ongoing is caught up to her. Okay. So, anyways, I hope she recovers quickly and gets better. And because we still need people like her, she strongly supports us and many others across the world. And yeah, so basically today, I mean, I'm getting everybody's sending me some stories about other things that are going on, and exciting words, exciting news. Arrive can is going to be lifted September the 30th. So basically, we do not have to make any claims or write-ups about, or fill any forms, that sort of thing. If you want to leave the country and travel across the world, you can leave Canada. So basically, you don't have to fill a ArriveCan. Mind you, I got a note sent to me from one of the, let's see if I pull it up here, one of the folks, that he's actually, Keenan Bexty. Keenan actually used to work for a specific news column business, and then he stepped out of the business, or being a broadcaster with his company. But he just said, he made a statement today, and he says, I just received a call from the Trudeau government that said I may be arrested and taken to a government quarantine facility after I arrived back from covering Trudeau's embarrassing trip to London. They say it has something to do with mandatory testing compliance. Okay. You heard the words, folks. I think Mr. Trudeau is trying to use mandatory. Okay, again. Well, number one, folks, the word mandatory is not a law. It is not a law. It is a submission. That means you're giving permission. Okay? It is not a law. And I've had 2 court judges tell me, yes, it's a law. No, it's not. If you look up your vocabulary, your definition, your dictionary, it says that you are giving permission. You are allowing them to do this to you. Mandatory is not and it's not even a law as Canada is concerned. It's not. So basically, this is what they're doing right now. They're trying to play the word mandatory testing compliance. Number one, compliance. That is also, again, control, a fear mongering. That's what they're doing. Here's the problem with most people do, or a mistake people make. If you ever do decide to travel outside the country in Canada or wherever, anyways, I know they have this unit you got to fill out, and it's basically ask you questions when you're traveling on the air. Now, I filled out the form one time, and when I was making my travel, but I did not. And you don't have to fill the whole thing all out. It's your decision. But the part that said COVID, or whatever COVID rules are, I never filled out anything. I went blank. The reason why, if you fill it out, you are complying. Okay? That means they get to track you. But if you don't comply to that little story, then they can't do nothing about it. There is no law that was passed, none whatsoever. Okay. Anyways, what Trudeau's plan was, I'm not going to say is, but they're trying to use the was now is. But they're trying to put fear mongering into people right now as we speak in Canada, and he says that they've already developed a whole bunch of new internment camps that basically, if you're not jabbed, that you be arrested and taken there unless you comply to getting the jab. You do not volunteer to go. You do not do anything. There is no law that says you have to do this. He's also saying now that the unjabbed are killing the jabbed. It's not true. Then he says, well, science has proven it. No, it has not, because we've already asked scientists, and the scientist says it's reversed. It is the jabbed that are getting the unjabbed sick. Reason why is because it's called shedding, folks. Okay, now I know very well that YT here on this site is probably going to be following me and say, you can't say this, you can't do that. Hey, you know what? Too bad. Because in the next few weeks or so, and I will say this, folks, President Trump had made a statement recently, a matter of a couple of days ago, and said it's going to be to give everybody I guess to say a warning. There is going to be the hardest 2 weeks on everyone in the US, Canada, and the world. That's going to be the hardest 2 weeks. Why? Because I already know there's going to be one more lockdown. But it is a martial law. And when it transfers over, my God, finally, we're saved. Okay? Because none of this crap is going to happen any further than what it is. We're not going to have to deal with people like this putting pressure on their families every day, 24/7, on the news, 24/7. Enough is enough. Then they're saying, oh, winter's coming, so now you're going to have to get the flu shots and the jab and the flu shots, and you got to do this, and you got to. No. Think about your ancestors, okay? A lot of you folks out there have families and relatives that never, ever were jabbed 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years ago or so ago. Nobody was. Why? It's because they were healthy. They all lived their lives as the way that saw fit. No one actually said, we got to line up and go see the doctor and go get this thing put in your arm. The word vaccination, okay, the word vaccination, and this came from a doctor, okay, a cancer doctor told me this. The word vaccination, in the short of in Latin, the word vaca in Latin means cow. Innation or innate means to line up. Did you know that? Lining up of cows. So you're getting your lining up of cows shot. Okay, folks, do you get it now? Why they use that word vaccination? Because we already know that the bad people are the ones that actually created that name. They wanted you to believe that it is actually a savior. It is not a savior. It is worse than what you would want. We all know that it was never to be a real CURE. It was called an experimental drug. The CDC, the FDA, and the WHO said, don't take it. They even said on their own website, don't take it. Don't take the jabs. And who's pushing the jab? Think about it. Bill Gates, Dr. Fauci. They're the ones that are pushing it because you are their experiment. You are their profiting. Right? Scott says there have been no ads for the flu here reminding you to get the stick, and by now would be repeated heavily in all media. They don't need to push it anymore. I know. Yeah, it's coming very, very, very soon, Melissa. The 2-week lockdown is coming very soon. And the reason why here is, like Trump said, it's going to be the hardest day in your life. The hardest day or 2 weeks in your life, of your life. And that is because when they do lockdown, there will not be any internet. There will not be any cable. You will have just yourself and your family. And when you go shopping, and if you do go shopping, like I said, all your banks will be closed. There's no access to getting debit or credit. You would have to have cash on hand. And when you have to have the cash on hand, that means if you need to go shopping, you're paying for it with cash. Everyone would be adding, subtracting all over again with their fingers or pieces of paper, or even if they have one of those machines. And this is exactly what's going to happen. Or even, you can still use your cell phone and turn it into a calculator. But that's exactly what's going to happen for the next. And then probably, like I said, he gave the warning. He already gave the warning as of today. It's going to be the hardest 2 weeks ever. That means he's preparing you. The bills will be graced. Right now, what happens to the bills will be graced. So don't worry about your bills. You take care of you first. That's what I'll say. People will be worried, well, I gotta pay you this, I gotta pay you that. No, everything will be graced because once they have what you call a martial law, no one's obligated to pay any bills. No one's obligated to pay rent. No one's obligated to do anything. Okay. Scott says it's a vacation in my book. Yeah, it's true. To me, yeah, you can have a backyard vacation. I will be out in my yard, in my shop, just busy as all heck, still making my crafts and stuff. I'm going to still accumulate and as much of my product, get it ready for doing more shows after this whole thing's over. But here's the cool part: after the whole thing is over, what happens next? Because everyone's saying to right now, that all people are saying to me right now outside, they're saying, but after it's over, after 2 weeks, then what happens? You'll be making this, you guys will be making so many soul decisions in your life, and you're going to be you're going to be going through a lot of denials, a lot of hesitancy, a lot of tears, a lot of joy, um, a lot of, how do you say this? There's so much. This is bigger than you and I all put together. This is God's plan. This was actually made a long time ago, and it had to happen because the rest of the folks still had not have awoken yet. There's so many out there that still thinking that everything's fine, we're going to keep on going. It's not done. It's not done. They're, you know, you won't lose electricity. I can guarantee you that. But there was talk about that. They were talking about shutting everything down. But if it goes into winter, nobody can afford that. Nobody can actually. You're making the public suffer, and that in a horrible way. And that's not what not what we're wanting to do. But I will say this: if you got a generator, have a spare one on hand. If you guys have solar power, you're going to have to start using it more often. Okay, for the next little while. But we will be going into winter soon. But I will say this too: our weather, our weather will be controlled. Oh, our weather will be controlled. That means, is it going to be really cold in the daytime when this lockdown takes place, or is it going to be hot or mid heat? Because remember, folks, it's not God that controls the weather. Not right now. There's actually a group of people that are controlling the weather. Because I'll tell you this, I've lived in British Columbia for since 1984, and I've noticed a lot of. There's times that, I mean, it's normal for it to rain a lot, and it's also normal for it to get, when your summer comes around, it's summer. This year and last year were the hottest summers we have ever had. I mean, I'm talking about hot. Okay, we're going almost as high here, almost 102 to 104 in BC. We had trees dying so fast, browning, grass burning so fast. We've got grasshoppers, okay, that don't belong here, that are coming here now. Locusts, they're landing here in BC. We don't get locusts here because if it's a damp area outside, if like we're more of a like a tropical zoned area in our province, because we're in the mountains, but yet it's now there's such a focus on this area in British Columbia that it's turning into locust country. Because I've got a photograph for you. If you ever want to see it, look on my Facebook page and you'll see me. I took a picture of a locust, okay, a grasshopper, and it said, it's not found in BC. It's found in either Alberta, Saskatchewan, those are the dry areas, Arizona, those places, anywhere across the states, anything with a dry climate. That's always been a dry climate. That's where locusts go. But this one here, they were here in our backyard. Okay. And that's not where they're supposed to be, in our backyard. Why are they here? Not one, a whole bunch of them. I mean, I was walking down, wheelbarrowing my chopped up, like I was trimming my trees, and I was hauling it down to the area where we drop all our green stuff. And and as I'm coming down the hill, all of a sudden and I walked over this one area which is very dry. Next thing you know, I see locusts everywhere. I go, like, I've never seen them there before, because I've been down there many times before. Why all of a sudden are they there? Why are they there? Because our weather is controlled. And we have lost elders in my community where we live. I live in a modular home, and we've had 3 elders last year lost their lives who passed away from over amount of heat in their houses because they did not have any air conditioners. Why didn't they have air conditioners before? Because it was never, ever hot enough here to suffocate. They were found, all 3 of them individually were found in their individual homes, found like suffocation. You walked into the house, it felt like it was 130, 140 contained heat. Absolutely. Yeah, Tom, you're funny. New thing, locust stew. Yeah, they're trying to push bugs. Start people go in their backyard. I'm hungry, Mom. Well, there's some locusts over there. Grab some of those. Chew on those for a while. They taste like tobacco. That's okay. Pa's been chawing tobacco all these years. You get used to it. Anyways, I want to share that with you guys. Now, coming up too, like I said before in the very beginning of the program, we have ArriveCan. ArriveCan actually is going to be done by September the 30th. Trudeau was forced to not use it, and it's because it is illegal to kidnap your citizens. Okay, that's what he's doing. Our own prime minister actually was kidnapping us. He was keeping us from leaving our country. That is illegal, because there's no proof of anything wrong with us. No matter if we choose to leave, no matter whether unjabbed or jabbed, we can and we have the right to leave. And he was preventing us from going anywhere. And whether it's an airline or just traveling across the border, he's making sure you don't leave. And yet, if you're coming back, no problem. And I've seen many a film of people receiving the ArriveCan forms and the testing kits, and they video record the testing kits, and they also get the piece of paper, and they don't fill them out at the border. They take them home with them. And I see them go out to the backyard, open up their barbecue furnace or an open pit, and they say to the kids, "Hey kids, come on outside. We're going to have a barbecue." "Oh, great. And we'll have a big yard barbecue. And you can burn some marshmallows." "Okay, great." So in the meantime, Mom and Dad and Grandpa and Grandma are bringing out these packages that are the testing kits, and they're sitting there. And you're thinking to yourself, are they going to be testing themselves or what? And they're all stacked up, half a dozen or so there, because big family, kids. And they stood there and cracked the beer, and each guy he handed all the boxes to everybody. This is the fun part. Hand the boxes to everybody, all got their box. And he said, "Cheers," and they threw all of their test kits into the fire. That was the coolest thing I ever did see. Yep. They all, like, everybody was in a circle. Instead of them, they just hand all the test kits out, and then they thought, okay, they're going to do the test kits. Nope. cheers, a beer, and they threw them all in the fire right there on the spot, and they had their beer, whatever. It was funny as all heck. You got to have fun with this, folks. I'm telling you, you got to lighten up, because people are getting so caught up in the fear mongering that they feel that they lost touch with their sleep, and or lost touch having rest. And so I'm just letting you guys know out there that uh, don't worry, be happy, as they always say. That song does suit this one now. But I would say again before, we need to not worry. This is just um, this is just a show, just a show. Okay. Now, Chucky baby, Woodchucky baby. He calls himself the King Chuck. He's actually, folks, you need to know this. Please understand. If you're new in the show, that have watched what I've done, and many predictions have been made by many a medium and psychic. Okay, and this has been going on since the 50s and 60s and on up since the time. And every one of them had said, and all their predictions came true. They all said that Prince Charles will never be king. And he's never going to be king. He never will be king. He was never, ever king, because he did some major nasty stuff to children and to people. And so and yet everybody's labeling him the king, but he's not, because if you look at his face, the recent video, and you guys need to know this, the recent video of Prince Charles, someone did a close-up on his eyes, and they were slanted up and down this way. Okay, they weren't full iris. They were actually look like cat's eyes. Okay, that's one of them. Number two, Camilla Bowles, his wife, or man-wife, whatever you want to call it, her. That's not the real Kamala Bowles, because Camilla, whatever her name is, Bowles. She's not the one that is that's not her either, because there's photographs and video of her skin down here was moving up and down. Okay, the necklace is way down here below that, but her skin was moving up. I'm thinking to myself, I know what this is. This is a mask. Somebody's wearing her face, because it came apart. That's what Hollywood makes. Hollywood can make people to look like someone. That's how good they are at it. But for some reason, this part came unglued. So there's photographs of it if you want to find out for sure, to say, well, if you're going to say to me, well, prove it, how do you know? I've got photographs that prove it. And that is on my Telegram page. We've got a close-up on it. It is actually true. Now, everybody's suspecting, and I will say this, okay? People are suspecting, they think it could be Diana behind that mask. Okay? She could be the one that could be wearing it. This is just a rumor, right? A rumor. She could be the one that's wearing that mask. So, if you guys, if you think Diana's gone or that she's passed away, no. Diana, you guys may not realize, Diana actually is military, and she was in the Air Force, I believe, Air Force and Navy, one of the two. Your uniform's blue, that's Navy. She's been in the Navy for a long, long time. So there's a photograph of her in uniform after her passing, supposed to be. Okay, so you're going to see that. If you want to ask me about the pictures, I'll send them to you. And she's walking beside President Trump and in front of a helicopter. So it's a perfect photo of her, right? How you doing, Summer Rain? I hope you're doing well. Um, so, anyways, like I said before, Diane. And also, I got a message from Diana's people. Ooh, you didn't know that, did you? Um, they offered me a page that she owns on Telegram, and if I'm interested in wanting to know more about her and what news she's going to release coming soon, it's a secured page. And so, because of my strong support of her, I applied to the page. So, and then I got an answer back yesterday, and I went into the page, and oh my! And guys, I'll give you a bit of a teaser. I'll see if I've got one here. What she had said. Um, okay, that'll be under him. I think that's in his page. I'm hoping it's in his page. Um, while I'm looking for it. But she said in the next few days, which was probably there's going to be tomorrow. Like I said, folks, not tomorrow, but 24th of September is going to be the biggest day you'll never forget. Okay, write that on your calendar. The 24th of September is going to be the biggest day you will never, ever forget. Because when you find this out, you're going to be totally blown away. Or when it does happen. I can't tell you what it is, um, but that's what they stated. So here's what she said. Ladies and gentlemen, the day has come today. I am starting to expose everything and everyone. This is from Diana. I am taking the crown back, coming back stronger than ever. Ooh. My own husband, Prince Charles, my ex husband, Prince Charles, wanted me dead. He wanted me dead because I was the only loved person in the royal family. As years went by, I saw a lot of bad things happening in the royal family, from pedophilia to murders. The royal family has done it all. She said she was a witness to it. I don't know that my husband was a pedophile, but as soon as I started fixing the royal family, they started planning my murder. I found out Charles' plan when I went to New York and met up with John F. Kennedy Jr. Most people thought that I was having an affair with John, and I wasn't. I met up with John in New York multiple times because he was the man who saved my life. Okay, so when she was supposed to be in that supposedly down the tunnel car accident, it was John F. Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump that worked together to protect her. Okay, so she said her and John F. Kennedy will be make this world a better place. And what she also said too was that there's going to be um, let's see here, little game right now. There we go. Um, yeah. Now, if you want to find out what she looks like, you guys ready for this? I'm gonna. You may not see it on YouTube, but I'll show you on Facebook. This is her. That's who she is right now. She's very much alive. So she's coming out and she's blowing the whistle because her and Trump and John Kennedy Jr. and quite a few, they're coming after the bad people. And apparently John F. Kennedy Jr. and her are going to be testifying in a military tribunal against all the people that tried to take her out and other people that were involved doing some major bad stuff back then. So you want to find out true folks. Like I said, I've got my connections here, and it's pretty cool. It's nice to see that people are making an effort. And let's see here. There's someone else that you may need to know that's still alive, and I'll send you his picture right here. Who do you think that is? Okay. He had not died. He's very much alive. Think about it. Who do you think that is? He's even showing his documents, most recent documents. He's still alive. So that is John McAfee. Okay, he's very much alive. People have been placed. Is John McAfee an actor? No, McAfee actually was the guy who actually made an antivirus computerized program called McAfee. And that's been around a long time. But Microsoft was so upset the fact that they could not outdo him, and so they tried to. What Microsoft was trying to do is destroy his reputation, saying that his program was corrupt and no good, and it wasn't. I use McAfee all the time. But once Microsoft found a way to destroy him, and if they couldn't destroy him, then they had to try and take him out. So they basically, supposedly, tried to or have him taken out as in killed. But McAfee was one step ahead, and he faked his death. Now there is actually a news column in England many years ago called the Daily Mirror, and about Diana, for example, and it shows you the front page. Okay, this is years ago when she was alive, and it says Diana letter sensation. They're planning an accident in my car so Charles can marry again. Okay, revealed a note that will stun the world, and that is true. This paper, and again, people are always thinking that these magazines or newspapers are nothing but fake, but they're not. They're for real, folks. I'm telling you, this is what goes on. People are telling the story. Now, I'll give you guys a photograph of her in her military uniform. Okay, here she is. Ta-da! There's Diana. She served, and that is her right now. So, do you really think Chucky is the king? I don't think so. Homie, don't play that. Now you guys know, and then those of you who have not seen it in YouTube, have a look on the program. If you're unable to get into Telegram, please join up on Telegram and find my name at White Sky Cloud. And then you join up my page called True North Strong and Free. This is what basically, this will help a whole lot. So let's see here. Yeah. So now we know. And let's see here. There have been a lot of doctors recently. I would say it started coming out maybe about 6 months ago about the blood clots. And then what happened was they stopped doing it. they're like somehow they got their, I guess, Facebook and YouTube and all them were trying to stop her from coming through. And like for people to know that what's going on regarding the TRUTH. Now, recently there have been so many people that have suddenly passed away. Now, one of my friends of Facebook, she herself sent me a message and regarding a family member that that family member's friend or know of had witnessed three men falling on their faces to the ground, dead, like boom, boom, boom. I believe she mentioned it being Walmart. Now, I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'm not going to mention her name that shared it with me. But there was three men who actually died suddenly at the same time in Walmart, fell face down, boom, 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 all close to each other because they got jabbed. And they try to keep it very quiet. There was a woman in Saskatchewan that got a jab, then her third one, I think she said, and then her daughter. She texted within a few minutes. She texted her daughter, told her that she got her jab, and then suddenly she had her heart attack. Not even a heart attack. She just like died right there in spot. Boom, right in. I believe it was a rest. It was actually in Shoppers Drug Mart in Saskatoon. Now, a young girl went into the Shoppers Drug Mart, and the people that worked behind the counter that gave those jabs refused to comment regarding what happened to the lady, because the girl said, well, there's a woman. She was actually what it was. She was asking a question: has anything happened to anybody? Any side effects happening to anybody since they got the jab? And she did. She says, oh well, yeah. Sometimes you get a sore arm. That's it. That's all she said. Sore arm. But she didn't say anybody that died. Then the young girl said, she questioned. She said, well, I heard yesterday that a lady died here in the store after she got her jab. Then the woman suddenly, her hackles came up real high, and she says, well, if you, no, I can't say anything to you. I can't comment anything. She says, if you want to talk, you'll have to talk to the owner of the store or the manager of the store. She says, I can't comment. Even though she herself could possibly been the jab giver. Okay. So there are things that is getting fishier and fishier. People are dying now from the jab. And it's heartbreaking because it's not fair. You know, they're really wonderful people. Um, it's not fair for anyone really, whether you are or not. It's not fair. But again, those people took responsibility. They signed that piece of paper saying that they are going to get it, hoping, thinking that's going to help them. It doesn't. We all know that. But they're going to do it anyways. And they thought they were doing the right thing. Everyone does that, right? Um, Private message you about embeds. They are here, but they're not meant for the public yet. Well, I'll say into the public, but they're coming out after the lockdown. So you have to be very patient, my friend. They're still coming out. And there's another group of people calling themselves the med beds, and they're not. They are just regular light beds, but they're not the real med beds. Not the ones that we know, that I know of. Not the ones that I was on. So these will have to be. It'll be talked about later on. Let's see. What else we got here that I want to share with you guys? We do have a lot of extraterrestrial people. Oh, I want a big shout out to my good friend Johnny Enoch. He showed up at my house about last week. Brought friends of his with him from Mexico. Who one of the fellows by the name of Bob. He's not Mexican, I don't think. But anyways, he's American. But Bob is into what I do, in as far as Anunnaki is concerned. And Johnny brought him over and to introduce him to me and to meet me, and we had a great conversation. Too bad the visit was too short. It wasn't long enough. I mean, I could have spent the whole day with the guys, but it was, to me, it's still worth the time. I mean, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, it was worth the meet, because down the road we're going to meet up again and get to know each other and find out what's going on. Most people don't realize. Oh, one more here. Here's that young guy. Okay, here's what you guys need to hear. I want you to prepare you. This is one of the fellows that actually sent this message. Let's see if it comes through.
Hey folks, Devil Dog here. Listen, this is a quote directly from Donald Trump, okay? He hits it pretty hard here. Quote, I want every American to be prepared for the hard days that lie ahead. We will go through a very tough 2 weeks. And then hopefully, as experts predict, we're going to start seeing some real light at the end of the tunnel. But this is going to be very painful. A very, very painful 2 weeks. When you look and see at night the kind of death that has been caused by this enemy, invisible enemy, it's absolutely incredible. Unquote. President Donald Trump. Folks, we're about to go through something that huge.
Now you guys know. Now you know. So it's not just me alone. This is confirmed with the other fellow that got the message from the president. So that's how it works, my friends. Guys got to know what's going on ahead of time. Okay. Dolores says, I lost my brother. His immune system went to nothing. Oh, sorry to hear that, Dolores. So sorry to hear that. My heart goes out with you guys. That sucks. Um, um, they say, um, well, there's rumors going out that Chucky in England is going to be arrested tomorrow. That depends. Um, you know what? Understandably, Summer Rain, Johnny did say the Queen is very human, but I had a long talk with him after that. When he came over to see me, he did not know. He had no idea. Johnny had no idea. Um, and I'll tell you why he said that the Queen was very human, because his friend's father worked with the Queen for 12 years, side by side. She was a confidant. He was her confidant. But I said to her son, talk to Ben, and I told Ben, um, or his son should say, talk to Ben, that was here as well, and I said, appearances, when your father's working for some, he only sees what he was told, or what he's supposed to see. But what happens behind the veil, you have no idea. So he would never know. Ben's father would never know. And like I said, his father worked for the Queen as one of her confidants, um, for 12 years. And I don't blame him to say, well, it's Johnny's saying, no, she's very human. She was very human. She was human at one time, yes, but what took over her? Is another part of it. That's not being human. Okay. He will. Johnny. The thing is that Johnny's focus is trying to please people. He's trying to be there for people supportively, and I guess there have been so many people criticizing almost every politician, every even the Freemasonry, that people like they're always against everything. And Johnny's learned a lot of stuff through the years about whether what was right for what was real Freemasonry, what's not Freemasonry, um, and other things as well. So um, he's, this man does his research. He's really good at what he knows. But again, I told Johnny, I said, that day will come when you'll see the truth. I said, but we can't say you're wrong and I'm wrong. We'll just wait, and you'll see the truth. When she's exposed, once Truckie's exposed, when other people are exposed, and show you the truth, then you're going to go, oh, okay, that sucks. Because look at Hollywood. You guys think that all these Hollywood actors are still here? Sorry, they're clones. Most of them are. And if they are real, that means that they were working with the good guys. But you'll find out after this whole lockdown is done, after those 12 to 2 weeks, I call them 10 days. But once those are done, okay, then you're going to see the truth. And the reason why you got those 2 weeks, and I didn't say this, and probably did not, the reason why you have those 2 weeks of the hardship, because this is when they will show you the military tribunal on television, and there'll only be one station available, and everyone will be seeing that one station. Some people say, oh, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. You're going to have to see the truth, because it's coming from the military. They're showing you who was charged for treason, who was charged for crimes against humanity, who was sentenced to either do life in prison or EXE done, right? So now there are some people out there that have capitulated, that are working for the good guys, because they don't want to get taken out. And if they're only the pawns at the time, from the very beginning, before they got caught, they were forced to. So they're saying, well, we had to, or else my family's life would be in danger. And a lot of actors and singers, entertainers had to fake their deaths, because that's why I said to you guys before, there's over 900 plus entertainers that had to be into protective custody for those many years. And they had to hide away. And as they got older, they never would have been recognized after that. If you lose 20 years of your life, as far as your features, you don't look like that person anymore. So you have more freedom to walk in the street. So the thing is, you could become someone else, change your identity. That's exactly what happens. Let's see here. Summer says, yes, I thought how could this guy not know all the traveling he does and learn about ETs? Well, he's not focused on the Queen. That's the thing. He was, just because he travels to the UK, goes to the UFO conferences. But again, he met up with Ben. He just learned about Ben. He's just, and he's believing that, whatever Ben tells him, or anyone actually that's there, there's people out there that know the Queen that is not who she is. So it's not just one-sided. It's just that Johnny is taking their word for it, and he just doesn't want to feel that he can't just turn and say to Ben, oh, you're wrong. He's just, mind you, I always tell people this: if you're not really sure what really is true, don't write about it. Don't get involved, because it'll make you look just as bad as anybody else, right? Because you're going to be critics against you or for you. And if you want to stand behind it and you write about it, then fine. And I've had some people come out, criticize me, make a judgment of me, but that's my decision. But I'm doing it because I'll show you guys exactly what's going on in this world. That's why people like me, I'm a spiritual person, very spiritual person. I love everyone. I love working with people. But what I don't care for is someone trying to hurt others. And so, I'm putting out those warning feelers for you guys, let you know, be aware of it. Learn something from it. Learn to take care of yourselves. And then people have always said too, or some people will say, Trump is not the savior, He's just doing his job like everybody else. Okay. Yes, there was lockdowns and he was rescuing the kids. Does not make him the only person that's like as if he's a god. He's not a god. He's just a man like everybody else. He has his ups and downs, and he had his issues with his own personal life. But that's just because everyone has their own life. I mean, I'm not perfect either. I had my past too, but still, we all have past from our younger years. Does not make us perfect, but we are always looking to perfect our lifestyle or to better ourselves so others can see us show um, a lot more respect, right? Um, it will only change people's perspective of his projects if he gets involved. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So the thing is that there are people out there. There's a fellow whose name is John. I'm not gonna say John's last name, but he actually was criticizing Trump today on his video, saying Trump is a loser and and these First Nations. And I'm going, well, and you think that and he did this and he did this, and I thought to myself, no, he didn't. He didn't do those things. I remember he didn't do those things, but they're believing what the media tells them. When you see on TV, folks, and you're believing it, then you're stuck in it. But if you do your own research and prove the fact that whether that person had said it and find out why he or she had said it, because a lot of times too, like here's something that you guys may understand too, and that is, and I remember I was asking you guys, why do they call a modeling agency Victoria's Secret? What I discovered, Victoria's Secret actually is a transsexual modeling agency. That means 80 to 90% of the men become women, and they're transsexuals, and so they themselves are the models. So when Trump had said one day, he said, because he used to, and he did not know anything about them until many years later, but he would say, when I remember the ones he said one time, he said, if you want to find out if she's a woman, grab her by the hoo-ha. Okay, that's what he was quoting about, because he was actually one of the judges at Victoria's Secret when they had a modeling contest. So that makes a lot of sense, folks, because not everything you think you see is perfect. And a lot of women out there were envious of the fact there's men looking better than the women. Right? So, and transgendering and changing has been going on. Now it's really getting rampant, like crazy. I mean, I couldn't care less if anybody, if you want to change your gender, that's fine. But you do not use a child to change their gender. In Vancouver here, during the COVID times, we're just finishing off our lockdowns, so our lockdown was done, we're protesting the street. There was a father who had a 12-year-old daughter here in Vancouver, and the school teacher said to the girl, she says, oh, you like playing games with boys? She goes, yes, I do. My dad always calls me a tomboy because, I like to play baseball and throw the hard ball around, that sort of thing. So she's a very sporty girl. Oh, and then she says, you don't want to be a girl, you want to be a boy. And she goes, no. Yes, you do. This is a school teacher. Yes, you do. You should be a boy because you're doing boys' things. You should be a boy. So what the teacher had done is report the girl's name to the police and told the police that this girl wanted to be a boy. She did not. The father heard about this. He approached his daughter about it, and he goes, no way, my daughter's not going to change her sex. What the teacher had done, she ordered the charge that the city police had to arrest the father to prevent his daughter from having a sex change, even though she didn't want to have a sex change. But they convinced her crazily that the girl was forced to have a sex change. 12 years old, and she didn't want a sex change, but they forced her to have a sex change. Meantime, the father was charged and sentenced to 6 months in prison until his daughter's sex was changed. Is that fair? They are saying in the new laws and this is passed by Trudeau, that no parent or guardian within the family can ever make a decide for the child whether they're 6, 7, 8, whatever of age. They can't change their sex without permission of a parent. They said you can't say that anymore. That means that a school teacher can take that child to the hospital, automatically get sex changed. Why? Well, because that's what they judge the child, and they're making judgments. Now, what if that school teacher was gay, lesbian herself, her or him, and they just want to see this child change because that's what they want, right? Then the second part is Trudeau had hurried a new law in Canada that you can actually, an adult can actually have sex with an 8-year-old without permission of the parent, and then the 8-year-old has to abide by the adult's decision that chose that child to be in bed with them. No, but Trudeau passed the bill. Why would Trudeau pass the bill? Because Trudeau is a pedophile. But why is he getting away with it? Because they passed a law that you cannot comment about any type of gender, LGBTQ plus, you name it, whatever they want to call themselves. But now they're adding extra colors of the flags, other kind of type of flags, and now they have a pedophile flag. Now you can't even comment about a pedophile. You cannot even call into the police and say this person's raping this little child. And if you do, you're getting charged. I don't get it. So I tell people this. Don't call in. If you're going to take matters in your own hands, you do it on your own hands. The law right now is not on your side right now. Not yet. It'll all go back to normal after this whole shenanigan stuff is over. Because that's what every government's doing right now. They're trying to change anything that you are against as a citizen of a country. And everybody's fighting for the freedom. They're trying to make it where you don't have freedom anymore. They want to make it, that's why Trudeau wants to change his title to dictator. He wants to be the new president or king of Canada. Okay, he doesn't want to be a prime minister. He wants to be a leader and no election. He wants to be the man like Osama bin Laden. I'm not going to change. I'm going to stay. And no matter how old I get, I'm going to stay. And I have my soldiers. I'm going to bring my Chinese military soldiers in and get rid of he says he's going to get rid of the Canadian Armed Forces and bring in his Chinese military. That's what his goal was. That's what he's going to do. Pierre Poilievre, I don't trust him. Pierre Poilievre, I don't trust him. Something about him that I don't trust. There's some things like he's trying. Basically, there was a Poilievre that I seen that showed up was a lot skinnier in Parliament. Who's not the same Poilievre that I seen a year ago. Do you guys get it? There was a Poilievre that I had seen that's a lot smaller and skinnier than the one that I had seen over a year ago. The one over a year ago was a little slightly different. This one here today, this Poilievre, is not the same one. He's different. Yeah. So, it's really hard to trust any politicians today, because if you have a politician said that I am awoken and I will do as much as I can to help everyone deal with this, and they already know what's really going on around them, then I would say I would vote for them. That they want to protect this country, they want to protect the people, they want to not acknowledge the Queen, not acknowledge the Crown, not acknowledge the New World Order, not acknowledge all the evil things that are going on, that I would vote. I would vote for that person, either he or she. Right now, we don't have them yet. If you're in the States, read HR 8873. There is some interesting stuff in that bill. Yeah, like I'm a Canadian, and there are some Americans in this chat room, folks. If you guys, you know, like I said, like Scott says, if you are in the States, read the HR 8873. Scott he runs his own radio show elsewhere on line too as well. So it's always good to meet up with other guys that are very supportive of each other, because we all have to work together as a community. That's just important. That's just the way it works. We have to do all that. Myself, I'm on my own. This is what I do. If whatever I'm able to spend the time to come in here and I do some follow-ups and I read what's going on with people in the community, you know. Yeah, and Melissa's she's she's living in the States. She's about a Canadian. Oh, but I'm going to tell you, Melissa, one thing. There is talk, it has been predicted, I'm going to predict this. There is talk of Canada merging with the United States. There is talk that Canada will merge with the United States. So I would say go for it. If Canada can merge with the United States, let's do it. Because we don't need a border. Everyone knows of each other. We speak the same language. We look the same. Sure, some of the politics are different, but you know what? I'm acting more Americanized now these days than a Canadian. Being a Canadian, it sucks because you're passive. Keep on saying you're sorry all the time. I'm sorry. And here, if you're living in the States, you learn to stand up for yourself. Like myself, when I was a kid growing up, you'll see in America, and I'll give you an example. Here's one of those idea, Toms. Like, thank you for the word guns. In the States, when an American gets upset, they grab their gun and they go into battle. As Canadians, we never had our guns to go into battle. We had our fists first. We always stood up for the rights of this. That's what we did. And then, we did teach each other in the Second World War, like American and Canadian. Like a lot of Canadian soldiers actually worked with American soldiers in the Second World War. In fact, you think about it, oh my God, this years ago, the Devil's Brigada, Devil's Brigade. The Germans hated the Canadians and the American soldiers, that specific, because they're trying to get that to the mountain. That was a true story. And the Canadian soldiers taught them a lot, and the Americans taught the Canadians a lot. They all had to learn to get along with each other, because there's always ego, right? And this is what I enjoy about this, because, and I'll tell you why, because there was a guy, I would say, 10 years ago, called me up, because of myself being a medium. He called me up and he says to me, I'm thinking about doing a TV series calling Six Psychics and a Medium. And I want to get you on in the program to be be the guy that you're going to be the only man with 6 females, psychics, and do this show based out of Vancouver. I said, sounds like a great idea. He said, but I want you to be grumpy old man, like grumpy attitude. No, no, I won't do that, because I'm an entertainer. I can't be grumpy. I'm not going to treat women like garbage. Forget it. He goes, well, he says, maybe we'll try something else. He said, but we'll come up with another idea. He said, but I really want to get you in there, because your reputation is well known up here. Well, thank you. He says, he did a test interview, and then he left. And then a week later, he called me back. He said he talked to the financial backer, and the financial backer said to him, the question was, he said, is he Canadian or American? And he says, he's Canadian. And he said, no, he will not work with Canadians. Why? He says, because this is what the guy, the financial backer was. He said, Canadians are boring. He said, they're boring and they have no humor. Are you kidding me? You're telling me that and I said to the guy, you're telling me that he thought he believes that Canadian citizens or Canadian people like me are more boring and have no humor compared to an American. Are you kidding me? He goes, yeah. He says, so they found somebody else. But guess what? I said, I said to him, I'll make you a prediction. That film ain't gonna happen. Why? He says, because you guys changed the vibration, you changed the idea, and it went nowhere. I said, you'll find women, psychic women, you'll find them out there, mediums out there to do shows, but you won't find that whole troop of people out there because you went back and forth too much and you lost your financial backers because that guy, you trusted that man's word telling, okay, I'm not going to give the money because this guy's Canadian. There's other people out there that can do the same thing. No, it's true, Melissa. They have not met any Crees. Oh, we're full of humor. We have a lot of fun. So, okay. Summer Rain says, "Why is Canada stalling upholding the Jordan's principal compensation when it has been approved today?" I don't know. It's because you remember now too. A lot of the real true politicians had delayed things because they're not real politicians. Like, here's the thing: when I tell people this, even though you think Trudeau passed bills, he didn't because that Trudeau is not real Trudeau. You may think Joe Biden passed bills, but he didn't because that's not the real Joe. Think about it, folks. They cannot pass anything. They say they passed something, but they didn't. They passed more gas than anything else. See what I mean? That's all they could do is pass gas. But none of these people really are of the truth. So they will make you believe that they signed something, but those are not true documents. They're false documents. Both Canada, United States, Australia, UK, anybody who signed, any politician that's supposed to sign something, they're all fake politicians. They're not real politicians. So those are all fake documents. They're just trying to create stories, and the word is distraction. Why do you think they did the whole week's worth of Queen Elizabeth? Because they're trying to distract you from what's going on around the other corner. Okay? Think about it, folks. Yeah, they're upholding $40 billion. It's just a show. It's true. It's just a show. They're doing it just to get you to show interest and say, oh, I'm going to wait for this. And, oh, I got to wait for that. And, oh, it's getting there. Well, of course it is. You make you wait because there's politicians cannot sign. They're not real politicians. Their real ones are gone. They've been taken out. So we just have to wait. Oh, I know you guys like to vent on the page a lot. I appreciate your venting. Yeah, and Catherine says, you mean hockey sticks? Yeah, yeah. Anything we're tough. We just use hockey sticks instead of using guns. That's good. Oh, look at the video of the puppet of the United States signing blank executive order of the day of the inauguration. You know, here's a funny thing. I get a kick out of this. Those that are woke, Biden did not swear in to be the president. He never did because they actually had what they used was the Satanic Bible because it was brass. And if you notice that people were wearing their crosses upside down when he did the swearing in, they wore their crosses upside down. Look at the video, you'll see. And their Satanic Bible is actually called the Golden Book, and that is they were swearing under Satan, not God. That's why. And if you ever go into any of the presidential buildings, and you'll see, or the museum, in there you can ask, even on your own cell phone, you can ask who is the president of the United States, and automatically it'll say Donald J. Trump. It won't say Biden. If it did, means they had to correct it, or not corrected, they had to lie over that because it kept coming back as Donald J. Trump. Or if you go on to the screen where they show all the presidents that have been president, but Biden's still not on that board. He's not on that board because he never was the pres. He was vice president with Obama. The real Biden was vice president with Obama, but not the real president. Because after Biden, Trump became the president, Biden disappeared. Get it? The real Biden, gone. Because he got caught with many little boys and girls. So why do you think he smells them? He wasn't going, oh, put something on the Barbie. So, okay, and what else is here? Again, back in the beginning, Can, we're lifting it September 30th. And like I said before, the 24th, let you guys know ahead of time, 24th of September is a very important date. So keep an eye out on that number, okay, on that date, because it's going to be the most important date that you'll never forget. Okay, down here they asked Alexa, who is the current president, and answered Joe Biden died at the American Naval Hospital. See? It answered Joe Biden died at the American Naval Hospital. You guys get it now? Did you get it? Yeah, it's not answering you. It will never answer the correct answer. Some bank ATMs have no money in them in the States. It's true. Why? Because they are trying to transition from cash to digital, but they cannot take digital out completely, or can't take cash out completely because it's still can't, like, basically there are some old films that the government has made a statement that they're going to try to use up that money as much as they can to abuse it, to make you feel that you can do whatever you want with it, or they can do whatever they want with it. Meantime, when they want to make you cashless, so then they want to turn around and say, well, the money it could possibly have COVID ID on it, that we have to go cashless. No, that's not true. And then you'll see a lot of these sales machines, the cash outs, and they're self cash. You don't self-serving. You're not even, there's no cashiers in any of the stores. Walmarts have already stopped. There's hardly anybody in Walmart now, even as an employee, serving you, because they already know what's going to happen next. Most of the Walmarts will be shutting down very, very soon, guys. And I'll tell you why, because it's part of a pedo organization. The owner was part of a pedo organization. So they're shutting down the company itself completely. Let's see, down here they asked Alexa who the current president has answered. Yeah, it's true. And then the Vatican order all the money in the world to be sent back to the Vatican by 2023. Well, that's a distraction again, because all that gold has been taken out, and it's actually in the United States right now as we speak. All that gold is put away for the public after this whole thing is over, and it will be distributed to the public. Trump even said it. It will be distributed amongst everyone, like as in equal shares. No one will ever be poor, and those are his words. No one will ever be poor ever again. Ever again. This will be a free country. This could be way, way better than most people think. You're never going to be a poor person ever again. No one will ever be poor. No one will ever starve. There will be, everything will come into being organics. All alternative practitioners will be pretty well, like, all the doctors will be retrained, nurses retrained. When the med beds do come out, they'll be retrained how to use those. And the hospitals are closing. They're not going to have any hospitals. They're not going to have no pharmaceutical industries. They're gone. They're done. They'll be bankrupting them out completely, because if they're not going to CURE people, they're taking them out. So this is going to be a complete shift and change around. Like, 2023 is going to be a big, big year of shifting and changing. Like, it's a positive change. We're going back to that. Yeah. Yes, we are, Melissa. We're going right back to the traditional as traditional can be, because we have to. And the thing is, like, I always told people this for many, many years, we were never ever to grow old so fast. We were never to ever to age out so quickly. We were never to get sick ever, because our body had its own abilities to take care of itself. But because society got selfish, and those people up above us that are billionaires, they think, well, we're going to control population. We're going to tell you what to do. So we're going to do this, and we're not going to let you do that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. They control you, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. So they're going to control the industry, as in the public, and they're all across the world. That's why their goal was to depopulate everyone as much as they can, so they can control you. But if you learned to stand up for your rights, because there is no law that says you cannot stand up for your rights. No one ever passed a law that says you can't. None. There are so many people in other countries that are fighting back. There even a few countries even had to go as far as even to they took out their president because he was that greedy. Some countries had to do that, or they forced him out, and then no longer have a president in their country. Meantime, the people are happy. Even the military never even helped the president. The military were on the public side. They're part of the citizenship. They didn't want to do. You guys need to realize that all of the military and the police officers, they're on our side. They don't want to do any. They don't want to participate in any of this garbage anymore. They were told, if they did from the beginning, they were told if they didn't do their job, they won't have a job, and so they were just told to play the bad boys. And some actually, the odd ones took advantage of it and abused it. Because they're told, oh, you'll never get touched. But guess what? Those very same cops that were corrupt, those very same soldiers that were corrupt, were taken away. They're done. They're gone. Most of the corrupt ones are gone. There's a few more they're going to be picking up. They're taking them out. They're not coping with this. They're not accepting any of the garbage from them anymore. They're done. That's just the way it works. Our freedom is going to be way, way better, but we have to cope with the next two. Well, let's put it this way: when it's called upon for those 2 weeks, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be hard. That's all I can say. I can't describe it. I just know. Just prepare. Just prepare, but prepare in a very positive way. That it's not eliminating population. It's preparing to say, we need to fix this so we can get rid of all what's left of the bad guys, and so that we can have all our lives back. Our freedom is important. Our lives are important. No, cell phone services will not be working. They will be shutting them down too. Like I said before, those 2 weeks are going to be hard, and there will be a certain phone number that if you need to call as far as emergency is concerned, that will be used to make contact if necessary. They have that number available, but the crazy part of it is that the landlines may be working, but not the cell phones. Cell phones towers are going down just for those 2 weeks. But your military will always be on your side. If something is really wrong, say someone's really sick, that sort of thing, yeah, 911 will be active. And if push comes to shove, the military will come. We will be there to protect you, to help you. The military is not there to hurt you. They're there to help you and protect you. And the reason why the military is coming out, so then they can pick up who's left as a pedophile, who's left as being the bad person. Okay. So, like I said before, September 24 is a day you will never, ever forget. And I had one person trying to say, nah, it's like every other day, No, Trump said it. Trump said September 24. So it's a day you'll never forget. You're expecting twins in March 2023. I hope there's still medical services by then. Oh, you will, my girl. You will have medical services. They'll always be available. You're not forced to get no jab to be, see. And say, okay, I remember one lady in Surrey here, where we live. She was refused to come and have her baby in the hospital because she refused to get jabbed, and so she was forced to have her baby in the front of the lobby, and the nurses would not let anybody come and help her, not even this, not even somebody who's just to help to assist. She would, they kept her from coming, any of them come from coming close to her. So the cab driver outside, um, that dropped her off, was there still, and saw her on the floor trying and having the baby. So he picked her up, walked her to the car, and took her down to the clinic, his clinic, not too far from there, and she had the baby in the clinic. That's how horrible these hospitals are. These hospitals are being, they're also, anybody who's refused them from coming in the hospital because they refuse to get jabbed, those people are going to jail. And then again, folks, this is an international military tribunal arrests. That's why we're having these 2 weeks. It's international. Anybody that still treats the people like garbage, any business owners that have harmed others and forced them to say you got to get the jab or you don't have a job, still this even right now, they're going to be also arrested, taken out because they already been warned. They were warned by other people. Some people actually have given them, you know, for example, anybody who lives in Canada, you guys can actually go to a web page called Action for Canada, number 4, actionforcanada.com, and you can download the PDF file, and you can actually, if anybody's actually giving you problems, trouble, that sort of thing, those PDF files are available, and you fill out the form of the person or persons or business, and you just, it's called cease and desist. It is a law, and if they, and you just fill out that form and give it to them, and if they don't abide by that form, then you have the right to sue the company, and you can actually have them charged by the police, and the police will take action because they are breaking the law. Okay, so you have 3 international laws that protect you. 1, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. That's in Canada. You have your American laws. Okay, everyone has their own, like American laws. They have their constitution. Then you have your Nuremberg Code 2.0. Nuremberg Code 2.0. Okay. Then the third is your Geneva Convention. Your third is your Geneva Convention because that gives you all that. And the Geneva Convention was used during the Second World War, where there were crimes against humanity. I guess basically people abused, they were torturing people for no reason, and that's against the Geneva Convention. So if anybody was caught torturing somebody that wasn't supposed to, and like in a very negative way, then they would be arrested under the Geneva Convention and or under the Nuremberg Code, life in prison or execution. So again, it's international across the world. It's not, even though our prime minister kept saying, "Oh no, these are nothing. Don't pay attention to those. There's just made up stories." No, folks. I'm surprised no one has actually even brought that piece of paper to that man's face and say, "Buddy, you're under arrest." Right? So yeah, Stand United also has cease and desist forms. Yes, fill out those forms, folks. It's worth your while. And if you want to be protecting your family members, your freedoms, you're not forced to get any more jabs. I'm telling you as well. I think, if I remember, I just saw somebody here in the chat room. My great niece is in the chat room, or was. My great niece came in the chat room. Nice to see you, my dear. Hope robins and crimes don't increase during those 10 days. Or robbings. Actually, no, because the military is out in the streets. Okay. If you're talking about robins as in like donuts, or robins as in birds, no. No, I don't know. I was just picking teasing you. No, there will not be any robberies or in any crime because the military is on the street. They'll be carrying their, they'll be keeping people off the street. So yeah, so making sure that you're protected and making sure the stores are protected. So yeah, don't worry about that too much. We're not going to have a typical 911 thing. This is not going to be or a racial issue where someone gets their stores get all attacked and destroyed. That ain't gonna happen. That's done. It's been done. It's past. Yeah, autocorrect. Yeah. Well, if your car screws up, you're autocorrect, right? That's a joke. That's dad jokes. That's me. Let's see what else is there. I think I got something here to take care of. If you guys want to call in, you're more than welcome to. I should turn on my Skype here. If you want to ask questions, my apologies. I didn't have Samantha Goldberg again. I just didn't have the time to get a hold of her. So, because she's in meetings, lots of meetings right now. She's getting ready for two or three new TV series, so it's hard for me to get a hold of her. Eventually, I'll get a hold of her and see what time she can fit in to come in on Thursday to have her interviewed. She's important because I'm hoping to get a hold of her before all this lockdown starts, because she's got some really interesting stories to share. So we'll see what happens. So if anybody's interested, wanting to call in to ask questions, you're more welcome to 360-566-2875. I'll pop in the phone number. In the chat room, in that chat room, I will pop it in here. 360-566-2875. There you go. Just like that. I find it interesting that Facebook keeps on upgrading itself and it's changing features. I noticed what has done. They actually took out fact checkers. They took out the blocking page. You cannot block people anymore. They won't let you block people. So if someone tries to go after you, you have to report it, but you can't block them. And I have one of my pages I own, and they won't let me block anybody. So if I put in the word fact checker, they're saying, no, you can't block fact checkers because we need them. Really? Who hired fact checkers? Bill and Melinda Gates. They're the financial backers. Did you know that? Think about it, folks. So, haven't heard anything about Pat King at all. So I don't know what he's been doing. I guess they have him on gag order. So he's not allowed to speak of anything regarding what's going on and what happened to him inside. So I don't know what's going to happen. Whether he shares information, those of you if you do know anything about Pat, how he's doing, have not heard from him, of him. No one's talking. Everyone's clammed up. Everyone's so scared. There have been more, I will say this, there have been more people that I did not know, American and Canadians, citizens, that have been speaking up for the freedoms, that have already been sent to jail or just got out of prison. There is a fellow by the name of it's based out of Australia. He's Russian. Well, I can't remember his name now, but he's in Russia. And they sentenced him to 10 months in prison. And here's the crazy part. After he got out of jail, after he was released, he headed straight to the street, did the same thing again. The reason why he was sentenced, because they called out a pedophile. He called out the man's name, who was the name of the pedophile, and they put him behind bars because he named the pedophile. Did you know that? In Australia, you're not supposed to name the pedophile. Why? Because there's a law that was passed that you cannot name pedophiles anymore, because the pedophiles have their freedom. They can do whatever they want now, and we can't do nothing about it. So he served 10 months. Why? Because he named the pedophile's name. So they came to his house and arrested him. So anyways, I think I'm going to call this a night, guys. I really appreciate it. Again, next week's going to be very, very interesting night. So we're looking for, have you noticed, guys, that we haven't had no monkeypox talkings? Nobody's talked about it anymore. Oh, really? Suddenly the monkeys aren't there, and suddenly there's nothing else but. So we're getting a lot of, not even hear the word jab injuries. It's more like most of the people right now are, their injuries are more of the seriousness of life injury. So that needs to be looked at. We'll see what happens, right? So I'm hoping I'm able to help you guys out, give you some idea what's going on. And if you are still want to find out more about me, you can find me on Facebook, Derek White Sky Cloud. I do have 2 pages. The one I like using my psychic page most of the time, because I like doing all kinds of things regarding extraterrestrials, and that's my work. The other part is also I like to give them as much information what's going on across the world and nationally, besides locally. And also, if you want to find me on Telegram, I have a page called True North Strong and Free. I've been trying to use my Telegram that's on Facebook as well, True North Strong and Free, but for some reason we do get Facebook that reviews my page, and then they'll say we don't like this. They're going to remove it, and they freeze it out. So if anybody that has been in the chat room or in there even as a group member, don't be frustrated. It's not me that's removing you. It's Facebook that's doing it. The one good thing you have better freedom of is that I don't remove anything out of my True North page, True North Strong and Free, in Telegram. It goes in there. They're on where I'm still looking for more people want to join in and be more members of. I will give you guys a heads up. Telegram will be the only website that will have as much information shared to the public, freedom to the public. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no Facebook interference. There's no there's no YouTube telling you what to do. There's no Instagram or any other grams to tell you what you can or cannot say or write about. Telegram gives you your freedom. That's what you have, and because it's well taken care of for people like us, and I look forward to using Telegram as much as I can to share with people about what's going on across the world, internationally as well as locally. And we also, I talk to a lot of other people that like-minded, like ourselves, that are trying to be just like the digital wars, like everybody else. We're trying to share our stories from the other side of the world, and it's also great to make contact with you guys. So anything else that you want to chat about, you can always get a hold of me. White Sky Cloud, or sorry, not White Sky Cloud. Get a hold of me at Spirit Chaser 1, Spirit Chaser number 1 at gmail.com. That's Spirit Chaser number 1 at gmail.com. And also, let's see, anything else on top of that? If anybody wants to get a reading, like I do that's what I do for a living, folks. I do charge $130 an hour. You look on my page, whiteskycloud.com, to see what I do, and work it from there. Anyways, it's been a pleasure actually having a chat with you guys this evening. And if there's anything else you want to talk about or any questions you want to ask, feel free to ask, because there's always something that we find that they say, well, do you know about this? Or you know about that? And I try to find as much information on it. Like I said before, including England, yes. And the word is Chucky, the king, is not the king, because the real king was never crowned, because he's down here. Okay. And even his partner, he, she, whatever, Okay, she is not who she thinks she is. Check the neck. That's a mask. Okay, I mean, a lot of people that are actors in Hollywood, they would glue that part down because the mask is way down here, and they roll it up. But for some reason, this came off, so you could see it. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because they're not here, right? So, anyways, folks, I want to love you and leave you, and be God with you all. We guys, take good care of each other, and we'll see you guys next week.
Everyone died. Everyone loves. Everyone cries. Round the world we're all alike. So why is there war? Why do we fight? There's one sea, one sky, one earth. So you and I gotta learn to live together. When one hurts, when one needs, we all bleed. Isn't it time? Wanna stop time? Isn't it time? Mother, stop crying. Stop the fighting.